Returning viewers may already know that I am not a fan of MLMs. I made an entire video all about them 5 years ago that you can check out, but just a quick recap, MLM stands for multi-level marketing, and it's sometimes also known as network marketing or direct sales. MLMs are basically like pyramid schemes that also sell a product, which allows them to operate legally while continuing to pull people in with promises of huge profits from working from home, which rarely, if ever, appear. No one really wants the overpriced essential oils or smoothies or shampoo that you're peddling. And so your best bet is to try to recruit people onto your team. And the best way to do that is to either go after your friends and family or become a social media influencer and convince random people on TikTok or Facebook or Instagram to join your weird little expensive cult. And I don't use the word cult lightly. I think that's one of the reasons why MLMs appeal to me as a subject. It's a con, but it's also a con perpetuated by a handful of people who profit off of the work of loyal adherents who are controlled with false promises and love bombing and toxic positivity and other forms of manipulation. Back in January, I became aware of one really successful MLM guru by the name of Jessie Lee Ward, aka Boss Lee, or at I'm Boss Lee on Instagram, where she has more than 250,000 followers. I find pretty much anyone at the top of these sort of scams to be detestable, but let me tell you, this woman is on another level entirely. Pun intended. She is a monster. For instance, the incident that originally brought her to my attention, a few months ago, she took 15 or 16 women on a retreat to Colombia. They thought they were going to go on a 2-mile hike before returning to their villa, but instead, Boss Lee forced them to walk 10 miles under the hot sun in an 18-hour-long event that had them sleeping on a beach with an armed guard. One woman was diabetic. It sounded bad. And there were all of these horror stories coming from these women who thought it was great. And every anti-MLM channel on the internet was feasting on this story. And then Boss Lee hopped online and just confirmed everything. Yeah, I did that to them. I lied about what we were doing and then I tortured them on purpose. It ruled. Okay, lady, just normal non-cult stuff going on. So this woman is extremely cringy, very hateable, and that's not even taking into consideration what she's shilling, which is Prove It, a ketone supplement that has been the subject of several Prop 65 lawsuits for apparently containing lead. So that's fun. Yummy lead drinks. To learn more about Prop 65, go watch my video about it from last week. Anyway, Boss Lee recently announced some genuinely sad news. She was diagnosed with stage 4 colon cancer. When I heard that, I immediately felt terrible for her. You know, she's a monster, but no one deserves cancer. But then I watched some of her videos about her cancer and I no longer feel terrible for her. She's actually even worse than I realized. She went immediately into surgery and had a portion of her intestines removed. And she started doing videos from the hospital talking about how all the doctors and nurses were just blown away by how healthy she is, besides the cancer. And how quickly she was recovering, which she attributed to her supplements and various other bits of pseudoscience.
The doctor said it's a really good thing that I'm in extremely fit shape. It's aided in my surgery and also my recovery. But anywho, I am getting released today, day 4. My recovery is so fast. My doctor was like, girl, you being in shape is just, you don't even understand. I'm like, I do understand.
And honestly, when I watched those videos, I felt even worse for her because she's so deep into this cultish environment that she feels the need to get on camera and just pretend that everything is fine and that she's got so much energy when she's dealing with this serious surgery. But she has to do that to keep her income.
I did have my coaching call with MLM, and I was able to manage that, which was great. And I think that's about it for the updates today. I have no idea when I'm getting discharged. Maybe tomorrow, maybe today. Who knows? I don't really care. Honestly, it feels like a freaking vacation because for the first time in 12 years, nobody's asking me business questions.
Which, really flies in the face of what these MLMs promise, which is that you set your own hours, you can go enjoy life. But this woman can't even recover from surgery and talk honestly about how much it sucks. She has to put on this toxic positivity persona and keep shilling her products from the hospital. It's really sad. But then she started talking about chemotherapy, and that's when I lost all sympathy.
The other questions I saw a lot about was about chemo and radiation. We won't know anything until pathology comes back either today or tomorrow, and I'll update you guys on that. But then the other thing is, I'm very anti all of that for reasons. I didn't even give my dog chemo when she had cancer. I took a holistic route. And so I did buy a hyperbaric chamber. For those of you that didn't see, I did take stem cells on the Friday before surgery. I will fly to Costa Rica to get more stem cells, like the deeper, crazier stem cells. Doing oxygen treatments, magnetic treatments, and red light therapy and all kinds of ozone treatments, all kinds of stuff like that. But either way, I'll take y'all on the journey. So if you have any questions, feel free to ask.
Here's a clip from some anti-MLM YouTubers named Aaron and Julie Joe, who captured her video in full, and they commented on it during a recent live stream.
My surgeon and the oncologist are 100% pimps, not of women, of chemo. They really love that hoe. They really love her. They love her. She is it for them. They just want to get those commishy-mishies, and they don't care who dies. I mean, okay, maybe they do care who dies. I shouldn't say that. But I will just tell you guys, I have never in my life seen such a strong and compelling sales pitch. They really should go into sales. They really should. They did a double team like I've never seen in my life. They were able to, they took the initiative to go past my 2 emergency contacts and call my assistant to tell her that I was going to be dead by Christmas if I didn't follow a chemotherapy protocol, to scare the bejesus out of her, to have me get ambushed by my assistants and my lawyer the next day. To then have me go, oh gosh, guys, I got stories for you. Okay, I got stories for you. I got so many stories for you. All right, and this is without the genetic testing. This is before I knew that I was an X-Men. This is before I knew about my mutations. Okay, I am a mutant after all. I knew I was an alien shit. But anyhow, I was a little bit stunned. And I called Ed Milet, or he called me that night, I guess, because I told him, hey, I just got back from this point, blah, blah, blah. He called me, and he's like, y'all know Ed Milet, right? You can drop a heart in the chat if you know Ed Milet. Ed was hot. He was not having it. I was not having it. None of us were having it. And so here's the crazy thing. You should never be able to diagnose something like that and have a treatment plan for something without all of the proper tests. So for somebody to go in there and literally hand me a packet of the medication he's going to put me on before we even have any of the information back from pathology, I think is negligent medicine.
So she says her surgeon, who just had his hands inside her body removing her cancerous intestines, begged her to consider chemotherapy, to the point of even calling her friends and family. And she thinks that's because he gets paid more if she decides to pursue a scientifically proven way to extend her own life. No, she's not going to listen to those money-grubbing doctors anymore because she has access to Tony Robbins-approved alternative therapies like infrared saunas and ozone therapy. Oh, just like Gwyneth. Look, I have the utmost sympathy for the average person who gets a scary diagnosis and then wants to do everything they can to fight it, even treatments that aren't scientifically proven. But part of doing everything needs to begin with the things that your doctor recommends and the things that every good doctor would recommend. Less than 10% of people diagnosed with stage 4 colon cancer survive 5 more years. Proper treatments, which include chemotherapy, can double a patient's expected lifespan. Some patients can get a diagnosis so bleak that they would rather live a slightly shorter lifespan than go through the pain and cost of chemo. That's understandable, but that is not what this is. She genuinely seems to believe that chemotherapy does not work and that her unproven alternative therapies will work and that she will beat this. She's stating this all to her huge audience of devoted followers. So not only is this likely going to kill her, but there's a good chance that it's going to kill someone else too. Someone is going to get a cancer diagnosis and they're going to see these videos and say, oh, wow, she looks so healthy and happy. She's beating cancer. I'm going to do that too. Screw chemo, screw those money-grubbing doctors. I'm going to go give my money to this quack in order to beat cancer. And then it actually somehow gets worse. She goes on to say this.
I talked about this in my close friend story, but I didn't talk about this publicly. The number one question, this is not me being an anti-vaxxer, just for the record, okay? The number one question that every single doctor, and I've gone to, how many at this point? Holy crap. I am not vaccinated, for the record, okay? The number one question, the reason, well, you'll see why I say that. Number one question I'm asked by every single doctor, whether they're an oncologist, whether they're a GI doctor, whether they are my surgeon, whether it's any of these naturopaths, any of this stuff. Number one question, are you vaccinated? And you know, I started asking probably about the third or fourth time. I said, why is every single doctor asking me this? Because you guys are the ones telling everybody they need to be vaccinated so that they save the population. So I am just curious. I'm just curious. And they said, because there is now a direct correlation between all cancers that we find and the COVID vaccine. And I went, damn. Okay. And then I started asking every doctor every time they asked that. So they all said the same thing. And I'm like, that is crazy.
Okay, so every single doctor is asking if she's vaccinated because of a direct correlation between the vaccine and cancer. Honestly, get fucked, you absolute ghoul. There is no truth to that at all. The COVID vaccine is safe and effective, and there is no known link between that vaccine and any other vaccines and cancer. None. Doctors were asking her if she's vaccinated because there's a pandemic happening, and they probably wanted to make sure she didn't get infected with COVID on top of having colon cancer, because that would really suck. You know, it kills me because she's not stupid, I don't think. You know, I've since watched a lot of her videos, and while they are extremely cringy and full of misinformation, I can see that she is very sharp and also very driven. But her brains have been completely overtaken by these alt-med worms, and now she's going to die because of it, and she's probably going to take other people with her. It's so incredibly sad, so disgusting. People, please don't fall for pyramid schemes or MLMs. Don't blindly trust people just because they're charismatic and they tell you what you want to hear. Don't take shady supplements. And please don't skip chemotherapy in favor of ozone treatments or whatever else somebody on Instagram is telling you to do. Hey everybody, thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a like. If you loved the video, please subscribe. And if you think the world could use more videos like this and you happen to have a few bucks laying around, head to patreon.com/Rebecca and join an awesome community of nerds like the people whose names you see on the screen right now. Thanks.